And fighting is really a motion picture, you know. But a fighting stance can scare someone off. And it's very good in class when you want everybody to be ready, and you should have your left foot forward. It's very handy to have, you know. But basically, a fighting stance, as Bruce Lee paraphrased, is about balance and movement, movement in balance, you know. And if you're off balance, get right back. But with that stick, you have the bootleg, which is an old tough guy talk about a gun. If you pulled a gun and didn't aim it at someone, but there was trouble, they used to call it the bootleg. You keep it down here. Well, this would be a bootleg with a stick. You got it out. You're not necessarily flaunting that, you know, you've got it up or something like this, but it's there, and he probably knows it's there. But then you have, you know, stick forward, stick neutral, stick to the rear. I wouldn't obsess about that because you will probably be moving. And this leg will be forward, the stick will be back, or whatever. But you have the weapon forward, the weapon neutral, the weapon back. Then you have knee-high fighting, which is our beginning of descent. To me, ground fighting is begins at the knees. And you can have this knee up, both knees down, this knee up. And I'll say that, and it's statistically interesting from Jeff Berger, my Houdini Jiu-Jitsu guy, is that the first 2 years of the UFC, when they got down on the ground, topside, they did it like this. And so this gives the person a lot of opportunity to do stuff down here. But I'm telling you, I think if you went down to this bar on a corner and got in a fight with somebody, the guy would get on top of you like this. Now this is ignored in most sport fighting stuff today because it's stupid. You may see this when the guy starts to get up, and then BJJ people have a little trick for that rare moment, you know. But so you have one knee up, both knees down, which has been inherently policing for decades and decades. And this is what I was taught in the 70s, because if you can get that person down, you're squeezing off all his primary weapon carry site. He can't get to the guns or knives he has. And so we were always like this. We called it topside saddle. Forget all this guard mount crap, you know. Topside saddle, which is catch wrestling. And that's where it kind of comes from, you know. And so when you're on your knees, you fight people who are still standing. You fight people who are your equal height, perhaps the both of you fell, and you fight people under you, which is the top side of the ground fight. And so you can post if you need to with, you know, a fist, a hand, or whatever, but you're hitting, holding, you know, pushing this way. Then on the ground, if you're on your back, you're fighting this full spectrum, all the way down, all the way up, not just right here. And then you have left side, full spectrum of problems, you know, and that cone is not just in this angle. It's like from here. He could be standing and you're here, you know. And now, since everybody's over here, this is the right side, but it's limited. And I want you to experience the limitations of that. And if you're like Remy Pracis that we said yesterday, you become left. But, you know, and so these are the basic positions of fighting with a stick. Each one is as important as the other. And they say that these colleges that have police courses say there's 4 ways we hit the ground. This is in this outline. If you will ask me, I'll send it to you. That is, you know, the first way we hit the ground in a fight is we trip and fall. The utterly most common. The second one is we're punched by a sucker punch. There's 3 kinds of punches, you know. The sucker punch is the most common. If you're going to get into a fight out here, there's a sucker punch or and I hate to disgrace John Wayne, but the John Wayne haymaker. And the last one in studies is the boxing, the jab, and the cross. Why is it last? These people don't know that. The actual people you fight 95% of the time don't know what I'm saying, or don't know how to jab or cross. When I was in the Army, there was no jab or cross. It was just punching. Left side punch, right side punch. Because they didn't care where your feet were. It didn't matter to them. Now, I still use, as time marched on, as a training purpose, a jab and a cross. But I just want to tell that story that they didn't care about that. You just punched the guy. Whatever is forward, back. It's only instantaneous. You know, that it's going to happen. The next one is we are tackled down and poorly. in real life. And then I gotta get down and put the shin on the shoulder blade and make that cup behind the heel. They ain't gonna do that. They're just gonna jump on your ass and haul you down. That's what you're working against. And so when you're in sports, you have this, that's why you start to have the unrealistic expectations, and you're shocked as to what you might, see. We always said, years and years ago, one of my big instructors, was a very diverse guy, went to the Mecca, the Inosanto schools on the West Coast in the 80s. And he made a statement one time about our karate school we were in. We used to hear, I got in a fight at a bar last night. It was nothing like I expected. Well, what the hell's that all about? Your student should come up to you in your class and say, I got in a fight at a bar last night. It's exactly like you warned me. That's instruction, And so the final one is we are pulled down. And so if you're taking somebody down and they hang on to you, which is the most normal human reaction you could think of, you could get pulled down to the ground. And so that's just it. And I'm just going to say real quickly in terms of takedowns, in Galaxy, there's two kinds of takedowns. There's the takedowns where you remain up, at least on your knees. A very small, talented group of takedowns, because you need to have some wisdom to do that. And then the rest of the takedowns are just a moron can do, an idiot can do. We call it in Aikijitsu the sacrifice fall. I'm going down with you all the way. I could just jump up into your arms like the married scene, and we'll both fall. Any idiot can do that, as evidenced by all the idiots of the world that are hitting the ground. Two kinds of takedowns. The better ones, where you remain in control, you're still standing or you're knee high at least, and all the rest are sacrifice falls, because you've been brainwashed into thinking that you can wrestle anybody to death. You've been brainwashed into it. And so we're all going to hit the ground and have this big pretzel fight, in which if you just fight somebody that's strong. You think that arm bar is going to happen, it's a problem. I always think about Nick Hughes when I say that.